Chicago, Darren Albert, an honor student, was beaten to death with clubs and then stomped on. Also, in Richmond, California last year, 6 males 15 to 18 years old beat, raped, and robbed a young girl after her homecoming dance. These are just 2 examples of what young adults are capable of. Every day on the news, we hear about adults who have raped, murdered, or assaulted kids and other human beings. When we hear these stories, we always think how awful those people are, and how they should be locked away in jail for the rest of their lives. We seem to forget or ignore that teenage children are committing the same crimes. Every day, young adults are out there on the streets beating, raping, and or killing other kids and even other adults. Since they are kids, they are not held responsible for their actions. Why shouldn't they receive their punishment they deserve? How would you feel if your mother, father, brother, or sister were the victim of a murder by a teenager? How would you feel when you find out that that killer gets a light sentence and even a possibility of a new life because they are a minor? What kind of justice is that? Let that sink in. This happens every day. Is this the kind of justice our country needs to promote? I think not. That is why Alicia and I have come to the resolution resolved that juvenile criminals should be tried as adults. Juvenile criminals need to be tried as adults from age 13 and older, and stricter laws need to be laid down of what crime qualifies a transfer to the adult court system. And punishments need to be established that are fair. Alicia and I, after all of our research we've done, have come to believe that juvenile criminals need to take responsibility for their actions. To make this very clear for everyone listening, a juvenile criminal is a youth who commits a crime that is 18 years, that if they were 18 years or older, a legal adult would be tried as adult. Also, a capital crime is a crime that would be punishable by a life prison sentence or punishable by death for an adult offender. In earlier years, juvenile criminals have been tried in youth courts, specifically for children under 18 who commit crimes. Sometimes these youth criminals are relocated, and other times courts try to rehabilitate these criminals. Youth offenders in past years have been given lighter sentences, ones that do not fit their crimes because they do not understand their actions. Teenagers that commit these violent crimes are also trying to plead that they do not know any better. As time passes on, our country is starting to get stricter and buckle down on juvenile crime. This growing strictness was started in 1994 because juvenile crime was at an all-time high. In fact, in 1994, there were 1,999,442 violent crime arrests for juvenile criminals. From then on, laws have been getting slightly stricter on juvenile crime. This is a very important topic that must be resolved. It is a growing conflict that affects many people in this country. Juvenile crime has one of the highest crime rates. Also, if something is not done to end this outbreak, it could very well affect anyone sitting here today. Most juvenile crimes are committed between the ages of 10 and 17, and we are all in that age zone. First off, this would be a huge deterrent to crime. If stricter laws on juvenile crimes are not implemented, children will never learn their lesson, and future juvenile criminals will believe that they have nothing to fear if they commit violent crimes. The only way to make a difference is to give those children something to fear. In fact, over the last few years, since the country started to get tough on crime legislation in 1994, which was a legislation that Congress pushed on the states to start trying juvenile offenders as adults, juvenile crime is on a steady increase. To be exact, since 1995, juvenile crime has dropped 45%. Also, in 1994, murder arrests have gone down 74% since 1993 and 1994. In 1997, 3 years after the Get Tough on Crime legislation, there were 46,516 juvenile offenders in state facilities, prisons. That is 40%. That's 40% of juveniles who were in prisons for violent crimes. As states started buckling down on crime and setting examples for other juveniles thinking of committing crimes, the amount of juveniles in state facilities moved down 34,000 to 34,658, or 33% in 2006. That's a 7% drop in violent crimes in prisons. Secondly, justice is not truly served until the criminal is given a punishment equivalent to the crime committed. For the family of the victim, it is not fair to see the person that they love harmed, and then the criminal is allowed just to walk away because he's a juvenile. What kind of justice is that? Lastly, teenagers do understand their actions. Saying a child does not understand their actions is completely false. If they know how to cock a gun and fire it, then they know what they are doing. Juvenile crime is a very current and serious problem that faces our country. It is one that we need to buckle down on and completely rid. This is a crisis that must be stopped. Thank you.